But I think AI will actually leapfrog and help us solve those problems, so that rather than having to have a really simple user interface that you navigate yourself, you'll just have an AI agent that you say, please help me do this, and it will do it for you.
I agree. Probably coming up to another 12 to 18 months where we'll see the most engagement we've seen in blockchain for a very long time. What do you think will be the theme of the next 12 to 18 months? My opinion is the adoption cycle where people start to use this stuff more often.
I think Bitcoin has been the gift that keeps on giving for a while now.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And for those of you listening who aren't in the Web3 space, Bitcoin is kind of our macroeconomic indicator.
Yeah.
So when things go well for the price of Bitcoin, generally everything in Web3 does better, even if it's already doing well. And so I think that we have a reasonable amount of headroom for Bitcoin over the next year, because there seems to be a lot of positive sentiment in traditional financial markets for Bitcoin and the sort of digital asset category that it's created. So as long as that persists, then that gives us headspace to work in the rest of Web3 and build without too much negative sentiment. People can raise capital from venture, they can build stuff, and that's great. I think that the most fun thing about this space is that whatever we think is going to happen by next summer will probably not be what happens, and it'll be something else.
I think that's probably fair.
And it's the unpredictability, actually, that I think keeps it really exciting. But I do agree with you. I think we're going to have much more widespread adoption. I think it's going to also be facilitated by much more heavy use of AI tools, specifically bots and AI assistants that help us navigate more complex technologies. A lot of what we've struggled with in recent years has been user onboarding experiences that were driven by a community that was highly technical at its core, and enjoyed the technicality of it, but that's really an obstacle when it comes to less technical consumer audiences. But I think AI will actually leapfrog and help us solve those problems, so that rather than having to have a simple user interface that you navigate yourself, you'll just have an AI agent that you say, please help me do this, and it will do it for you.
I agree. I think it's going to allow for people to build really specific infrastructure, because I think what we've been the benefits of, I think it kind of happens with anything, but you have you come to Ethereum and it's you can build anything you want on Ethereum. But then if you're not quite sure what to build, it's well, what do I build? It's you can really build anything you want to build. And I think that is a massive barrier to entry.
Yes.
You have to understand why Ethereum and the intricacies of a smart contract and what that means and the risks that includes.
Well, it's like me giving you a big stack of paper and saying, okay, now write a novel.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think just now where...
You got the paper.
And all I need is a pen, right? And then Harry Potter. But I think just being able to get over that with an agent that knows the pitfalls, but still requires some expertise, and not everyone is doing it. There's at least the people that know something can do stuff that's good, not just walking off the street and being I'm going to build a restaking platform. It probably won't happen. But that kind of specific infrastructure, and I think Story Protocol have been talking a lot about this, and I kind of borrowed from that, because we've been building specific infrastructure for a really long time, which is just ours is going to be used to bring the buying of ads on chain. And then let's see what happens when capital is way more efficient when you buy ads, because I think a lot of the reason that large branding budgets don't this. Let's go to a point about $5,000 not touching the sides. One of the reasons behind that is if you just spent it on another Web2 exchange, half of that's going to go to the person that's supposed to be buying the media for you. So your budget's only $2,500, and then if you want to do some IBT or ID matching or some contextual targeting, your $5,000 very quickly gets whittled down to $1,000, and you're literally buying 1 million ads, which you wouldn't even realize, you wouldn't see any yourself, So that is what I'm excited about, is to see like the specific solutions that people create to different challenges, like even more broadly than just like, even what we're doing is quite broad, but like the specific, so like someone comes to us and say, we've figured out this really neat way to solve for purchase intent for high street brands, whatever it may be, and this is how we think it can slot into what you've built. And I think that will start to become really cool, because you can spin up really quickly, you can test it on the wealth of on-chain data that there is, get it really tight really quickly, and then prove value to people that want to buy it and like solve someone's actual problem, rather than being like, hey, anything, you can solve all the problems.
Yes.
Come to Ethereum or Solana or wherever it is, Yeah. So I'm quite excited to see that play out over the next, hopefully more than 12 to 18 months, I think.
Well, and the fun part is, as you build that infrastructure, I think the fun part about Web3 is I think it's our job as people who build some of this infrastructure to demonstrate to people how it might be used.
Yeah, certainly.
But suggest that's not the sum total of how it should be used. And that actually, here you go, here are some tools, but guess what? You can kind of do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
So actually what it might end up being used for is actually something completely different, but very exciting nonetheless, because actually, everything becomes a user-generated content platform.
Yeah.
In a sense,
Certainly.
And your clients and your customers and stuff may actually be the ones who develop things that provide more innovation that everybody starts using, right?
I think, to speak, I guess, specifically on Alchemy, that attitude to the way that we're building the network fundamentally sets our trajectory. Like if we're just like, only you can come, only we are selling ads on our platform. Yeah. It's not a platform, it's an ad network. Whereas if you kind of like, we want people to be able to build their business on what it is that we've created, and we are a low fee, high volume game. So the more people building on it, the better. And that kind of allows us to change our trajectory and allow us to become much stickier. It's something that the Trade Desk did phenomenally well over the last 20 years. Like they have been around for a very long time, IPO'd and were like $8 billion as a company, and then like kind of gave up the managed service side of their business and buying campaigns and running campaigns on behalf of their clients. And like, okay, we're just going to help agencies have scale of media buying across various platforms and make quite a nice UI. And then you roll on 5 to 6 years and they're $56 billion market cap. They're doing some pretty amazing things. It's like and I'm like, okay, well, that's the model. It's just like, what can you do if you have infrastructure that allows for more of what made that really great? And I think that's how we try and think about what it is that we're doing. Because you can deploy any part of the ad serving, buying, auction application to the validator network. It's like, okay, what does that look like? But again, as you say, we've got to show you how that works. And the analogy I always give is that, like, you walk into a kitchen shop and it's like, here's all the kitchens we could make, and you're like, I just want that kitchen. Or you're like, hey, come with us and we can tell you about the marble and the boiling water tap, whatever the hobs are. That's kind of where I want us to be. It's like, we're the Wren kitchens, as it were, and it's like, you can buy a kitchen from us or you can come and build your own kitchen, but we give you the bits for that kitchen, to really thrash that analogy to within an inch of its life.